What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back as always. It is my privilege to have on another one of the pristine CSU athletes and volleyball player, me Lombardo. How we doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Hey, it's my pleasure. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
How was your semester?
It's been pretty good. Yeah, I mean, right now, obviously, you know how it is with finals, just kind of getting through everything.
Right.
It's been really weird now that season's over because you kind of forget what, like, life is without volleyball. So it's been interesting just kind of, like, having time and just kind of, like, chilling out with my teammates. So, yeah, it's been nice.
So let me ask you. I noticed this, I don't want to say disconnect, but you can tell who's an athlete and who's not walking around campus. You just can. Do you think, personally, you've ever been treated differently because you're an athlete, whether it's by professors or just people in your class? Like, let's say, like, you casually try to talk to somebody and they're, like, a little intimidated or...
Yeah, never really with, like, other students or other people that I meet on campus. Like, I mean, even when I'm wearing my gear, I just kind of don't really think, like, oh, I should be treated differently because I'm an athlete or expect people to.
Yeah.
With professors, yes and no. I've had some professors that have come to me and they're like, oh, my God, like, we're a huge fan of CCS volleyball. We've had, like, former players. You're awesome. And then I've had the opposite, where I've had professors, like, kind of be harder on me because I am an athlete. Like, I had one situation where it was my sophomore year. I emailed this professor, like, weeks before I was going to, like, miss class for a game, and he just sent me, like, a really, honestly, rude email back being like, if you're going to miss my class, like, you might as well drop now, and I was like, all right, like, this isn't right. So, it depends. That's only one case, but for the most part, everyone's pretty chill with it.
So, you're from Chicago.
I am from Chicago, yep.
What business do you have in Connecticut? Of all the places in the country, how does one wind up from being there? Is Chicago the Windy City?
Chicago is the Windy City.
The Windy City, yeah. And
yeah. They call it the Windy City because of its politics, but it's actually really
Really?
windy. Yeah.
How so?
It's just a term they use, like, I honestly don't understand the term,
yeah.
but, like, in terms of it actually being windy, it's windy.
It gets windy as hell over there?
It's really windy downtown,
That's
yeah.
crazy. How are the winters there? Pretty bad? Like, are they rocked over there right now?
You know, it gets really cold, especially since we're we're right on Lake Michigan, so we get the cold front.
Yep.
Not as much snow as you get out east here, but it's way colder, and then, like, we get these things called polar vortexes. So basically...
A polar vortex?
A polar vortex, yeah. So, like, the cold just, like, takes over the city. Like, you know how during, like, when you're in middle school or elementary school, you'd have days off, like a snow day?
Yeah.
You go play in the snow?
Okay.
Yeah, we have cold days where it's so cold the buses won't start, so they have to cancel school, yeah. And you have to stay inside because it's, like, negative 30
The more
outside.
you know.
Yeah,
That's
the more you know.
Oh, my
cold
God.
Cold days, yeah.
A cold day.
Gotta love the Midwest.
So... Yeah, so, like, I mean, Connecticut, we get all the seasons here, obviously, too.
Yeah.
I'm sure this is nothing compared to a cold day.
Yeah.
Especially right now, since we're recording on
this is, like, pretty nice. Like, this would be like, oh, like, I can wear a light jacket.
This has been a very generous winter.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it seems like the seasons are, like, slowly fast-forwarding, or maybe delaying just a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we're going to get rocked in, like, February.
I agree. No, it's a lot, like, more mild out here in Connecticut, because, like, you truly get, like, a full spring. Like, a Chicago spring is, like... It'll be 60 one day, and then the next day it'll snow, and then it'll, like, freeze over, and then it'll get really hot again.
That's
and that
terrible.
Like, and then it repeats, like, 2 more times, and then it's summer. So, yeah.
No, that's cool. So, when you were in high school, going through these cold days, whatever the case was, obviously you were being recruited as a D1 athlete, or at least because you play for a D1 college. What was the process like leading up to eventually going to CCSU?
Yeah, so, well, let's just take it back to day one. So
right.
I started playing volleyball pretty young. So especially where I'm from in Chicago, the western suburbs of Chicago, volleyball is, like, the number one girls' sport. Like,
really?
You think, oh my gosh, yeah. Like
volleyball is king over there?
Volleyball is king
That's
in Chicago.
crazy.
Like, so we start pretty young. So I want to say I started around, like, 1st or 2nd grade. I started really young. My mom was my first coach, which is really special.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really sweet. And I, like, you know... In terms of, like, when me wanting to start playing in college came from, it really came from, I was probably, like, 7 or 8 years old, and my mom and dad took me and my brother to go watch University of Illinois volleyball, which back then, they're still a great team now, but back then they had, a phenomenal team, crazy good team.
Yep.
And they played Northwestern University. And I remember, it's crazy how much I remember this game, which kind of shows, like, how instrumental, like, this day was in, like, my life as an athlete and just as a person, too. I remember going to that game and seeing those girls, like, number one, how tall they were, how cool they looked, and just, like, how hard they hit the ball. That's something, like, I haven't forgotten. I remember when I was young, I was like, that is what I want to do. Like,
Right.
this is for me. This is what I want to do. So I always kind of had that dream growing up, like, I want to play college volleyball. And of course, when you're that young, you don't know, like, the whole logistics of that and, like, what goes into it. But it was just always, like, a goal because I saw that and I forever just, like, that's what I wanted to be. So
Okay.
I played volleyball all the way growing up. And then once I got to high school, I started playing for First Alliance Volleyball. Shout out to my First Alliance family.
Shout out.
So that's, like, I would say when it comes to recruiting, you kind of start, figuring out where you can be in terms of, like, division your freshman, sophomore year. If you're a stud, you're going to get recruited, like, your freshman, sophomore year.
Yeah.
Respectfully, I was not a stud. I was just, it's funny
Nah,
can we say
that's
average, but
funny.
it's like, I wasn't anything special considering the density of, like, phenomenal players in my area.
How tall were you when you were a freshman or a sophomore?
I want to say, I'm trying to think. I would say my biggest, like, growth spurt was from my, like, sophomore to junior year. So I want to say my freshman year, maybe it was like 5'9", and then by my junior year, I was 6 feet tall.
That's
so,
insane.
Yeah, I grew a lot those 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was told by my club, like, you're going to have to work hard to be where you want to be, which was Division I. I mean, I just want to put it out there. Playing college at any level is a massive accomplishment, and it's so difficult to do.
Seems like it.
Oh, yeah. Like, and then just for me personally, I wanted to play at the highest level and
You're
have...
just competitive like that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If I have the opportunity to be the best I can be, I'm going to take it.
Okay, gotcha.
And in terms of scholarship, there's a lot more opportunities with D1 than I would say in any other division. So that was always the goal. So they said, your range of school is mid-tier D1 to, like, high-tier D2. So that was, like, the range of schools that
Who
would,
was
like,
the
best fit.
person, or was it, like, athletic
Our
director?
coach, it was, like,
coaches?
our, like,
Okay.
recruiting director at my club, on my coaches, too. And that being said, like, the sky's the limit. Like,
For sure.
they're just saying what was realistic for me, and that was true. Like, within my skill set and my height, and with my position, like, that's what made sense. So my recruiting really started my sophomore year, and then that was just kind of more of getting my name out there to coaches. Coming from the Midwest, like, I thought to myself, okay, if I have the opportunity to go anywhere for school, I'm going to take it. So I had a really wide net of schools I was looking at. So basically both ends of the country, I was totally fine going to.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I would say my biggest jump skill-wise was from my sophomore to my junior year. And I credit that a lot to my coach, Coach T. Another shout out.
Coach T.
He's a huge reason why I'm here at Central today.
That's awesome.
He was instrumental in developing, like, me as a player, and I'm internally grateful for him. He's
Okay.
a phenomenal coach, along with everyone else at First Alliance, but especially him. That was my biggest jump in junior year, is when I kind of started getting a lot more attention from college coaches, and I would say I had, like, 4 legitimate offers by, I want to say it was, like, March of my junior year of high school. One of them was from Central. And out of all those schools, like, Central, talking to the coaches, I had the best connection with them. Like, I remember my first conversation with our old assistant coach. We were supposed to have, like, a quick chat, like 15 minutes. We ended up talking for, like, over an hour. We just, like, instantly hit it off. And then I had the talk with our head coach. And
So when these conversations are happening, did you go, like, come all the way to Connecticut just to see it? Or did you, like, talk over, like, what year was this when you were talking
So this is my junior year is when I reached out to Central. And so how everyone,
Okay.
I do want to say everyone's recruiting process is different.
Yep.
The way you go about it is different. For what I would do is I would write, like, an intro email to these coaches, say where I'm from, my GPA, that's a big one, a lot of
Yeah.
your grades really do
Academics.
matter. Academics really matter in the recruiting process.
Yeah.
Because it kind of speaks to your, obviously coaches want to have players that do well academically, but it kind of speaks to, like, how hard are you willing to work to, like, it's
Your character.
Yeah, your character.
Yeah.
So, your grades, your height, and your vertical touch, and then what tournaments you're choosing.
Your vert?
Your vertical, yeah.
So do you do a vert test in high school? Like,
Yeah.
for volleyball? Is that, like, a tryout thing that they have you guys do?
Yeah, so, like, it depends on your club. My club would, like, take our verticals. We can get it if I was like, hey, coach, like, I need my vertical to, like, update it on my recruiting thing. They would do it, but they typically did it maybe twice a year. You could ask to do it whenever, but that's something you need recruiting-wise. Because let's say you're an undersized player, but you can jump. Like, you want coaches to know that.
Yeah.
So,
Gotcha.
yeah. And, like, your jump touch also can determine, like, what level you can play at. Lucky for me, I'm tall, so
Gotcha.
I have the build for a Division I player. And, like, an average, I forget what my jump was in high school. and like an average jump. So, but because I had my height, like, you know, I fit into the range for D1.
So how many of these letters did you have to make and send out?
I contacted probably well over 100 coaches.
That's insane.
I mean, you just send them out, and then you'd send out with that your tournament schedule and any film you had.
Wow.
And you just kind of pray to God that, you know, someone out there is going to say yes.
So when you were doing this, obviously it can be a stressful process,
Mm-hmm.
but would you say that was a kind of stress that you wanted on yourself? Like you wanted to put that on your plate to like show?
Yeah. One thing that
yeah.
like, you know, the one thing going through the recruiting process that I think was really good for me as a person, like moving on into like my adult life and, you know, when it comes time to start my career, I got told no for so many reasons. I got told no because I'm not tall enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm just simply not good enough. I got rejected hundreds of times.
That's crazy.
And I think the more and more you get rejected, the easier it is to take. Like
yeah.
Yeah, it's true. There's so much truth in that. Like,
you're not wrong.
You just got to keep going until you find your yes. You know, and that's what I really learned.
That's a very powerful statement you just said.
I mean, you know, I learned a lot from my recruiting process. Yeah, you got to have thick skin to go through it,
right.
especially the way that I went about it.
Yeah.
But you're going to find your yeses and you're going to find your home, and that's what happened to me.
That's the thing, though. You bet on yourself.
Yeah.
And
my dad always said that to me. Always bet on yourself.
Always bet on yourself. Yeah. Hey, shout out to your pops.
Shout out to my dad.
Mr.
Yeah,
Lombardo.
hi, Dad.
Shout out. Nah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So CCSU comes along. Like,
Yeah.
like I know. Shout out to Maddie because I had her
Yeah.
on. She said I think maybe 2 colleges that
Mm-hmm.
also try to get her. Like where you don't need to necessarily say the colleges if you don't want to,
Mm-hmm.
but can you like say any states that you possibly could have ended up rather than
I'll
Connecticut?
say the states, which is kind of funny because it's like, again, I like set such a wide net.
Yeah.
Like the 3 schools like that, like I was most seriously considering, and like where I had legit offers from were in Texas, New York, and then Connecticut. And here I am.
Texas. That would have
been interesting, right?
There's
There's a big difference between Texas and Connecticut.
No, you want to talk about a volleyball being king in Chicago.
Yeah.
Freaking Texas sports in general.
Texas sports.
Oh
insane.
my God, they're insane.
Yeah.
So, you come to Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
What was your first impression of Connecticut?
Okay, so I'm a huge Gilmore Girls fan, and if you don't know the show, it takes place in Connecticut.
I actually did not know that.
Yeah, so the town, my mom's going to laugh when she hears this because she'd always joke with me the only reason you wanted to go to school in Connecticut is because that's where Gilmore Girls is based in.
Right.
But the town, like, that the show is based in is based off of West Hartford, which is really funny.
Really?
Yeah, so, like, that was kind of, like, my vibe, and I thought, like, again,
sick.
kind of, like, coastal vibes. Like, not necessarily, like, New Britain, like, the central. I didn't know anything about the Hartford
No, I got
area.
you. Yeah.
So I came here, I got scheduled to do an official visit, like stay with the team and, you know, meet the coaches, kind of get the vibe with Central. Mm-hmm. And I got to campus and it just like, I think Maddie said this too, when you know, you know. And like, I knew like, you know, like, okay, yeah, this is somewhere where I think like I can be successful as a student, as an athlete, and as a person.
Mm-hmm.
I hit it off immediately
No,
with the coaches. And, just the girls I clicked with, and it just felt like, okay, this is the place for me. Like, this feels right, and I was right. I love it here.
Did you commit to Central while in Chicago, like your senior year?
So I did my visit, I think it was like spring break of my junior year. Mm-hmm. And I remember being in the bookstore with my parents. The coaches, like, let me have a moment to myself.
The bookstore at Central?
The bookstore at Central.
Shout out the bookstore.
Shout out to the bookstore. I'm sitting there with my parents, and I was just like, I think I have to go here. Like, this is it. And my
the
mom,
bookstore does have an impression like that.
and we were literally standing like by the sweatshirts, and they just gave me the biggest hug, and they're like, "We're so proud of you."
Wow.
Like, we're really, you know, they felt it too. They felt like, hey, like this is somewhere where, you know, you belong.
Yeah.
So my dad said, "Don't commit right now. Sleep on it."
Yeah.
So I slept on it, and I woke up the next morning at 6 a.m, and I told my parents, I'm gonna go commit to Central right now.
Wow.
So I made the phone call to the coach and said, "Hey, I'm coming to Central."
That's sick.
So yeah, it was awesome. And it again took a lot of stress off me too, committing that early, like my junior year. Because, you know, most people, you know, they figure out where they're going their senior year. So I kind of, not coasted, but it was just to have that stress off and just focus on school and my development as a player. Like, that was nice. It was a good time.
So you started going to Central in 2020?
Yep, middle of the pandemic. Yeah.
That's tough.
It was an experience.
Yeah, what was that like for you?
So living in the dorms, so me and my teammate Tori, we shared a room together, and then we were kind of like on the same floor with my class, with like, you know, Margaret and Rachel and Nija, And, like, we got really lucky because us, like, we get along really well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like, the class that you're in can really determine, like, your experience. So I got lucky. Like, I've got the best friends in the world. I really do. They're everyone on my team. Just, like,
Shout out to the team.
Shout out to the team. Love my girls.
Yep.
Really just great people. But, like, in terms of, like, you think about your social experience in college, it was just cut because, number one, there weren't a lot of people on campus. We couldn't really, we had to be smart because we wanted to play volleyball.
Yeah,
so
that's a great point that you brought up because college athletics, from what I've seen, it's already taking up enough time as is, and you already have to sacrifice so much. Then you have to add a whole nother layer to that in order to play. That's crazy.
It was definitely an interesting experience. I remember the first because we had to play with masks on. Yeah, we had to play with masks on. That was an experience. But I remember, like, the first time playing with masks on. The surgical masks I thought were, like, the best ones to play in.
Yeah.
But, like, my first ever college practice, I wore, like, this super thick, like, cloth mask. Terrible idea. I, like, couldn't breathe. I remember taking it off. I was like, I think I'm going to pass out.
Build stamina.
Oh, my gosh. I was probably in some of the best shape of my life while we were playing with the mask on.
Yeah.
I was just so, like, my lungs were so well conditioned because my breathing was restricted.
Right.
But, like... Hell, I'll play in a mask any day.
Shit, if I let you play, yeah.
Anything to get on the court.
I gotcha.
Like, so, I wouldn't say I wouldn't want to go through it again, but I would do anything to play. And if that's what I have to do, if I have to get tested, if I have to go through all these protocols to play, I'll do it.
I don't think we're gonna go through anything like what we went through.
I hope not.
Probably until we're. If I'm gonna guess, I could be totally wrong. Knock on wood. Maybe when we're really old.
Yeah. Hopefully never again.
Hopefully never again. Yeah. But yeah, 2020 was a crazy.
2020 was a crazy year.
It was like it doesn't even feel like it happened at this point.
Yeah.
Like this room, like not many people know this. For those that are new here, I mean, welcome. But like all the posters, you see all of this. Like there was nothing here. Like 2020, like I kind of like. I like to say took advantage of my time, but. I don't know, like, what you did besides volleyball to, like, take advantage of time and, like, slow down, because I don't know if you felt rushed at all.
Yeah, well, for me, like, I was a senior in high school, so I had all of that taken away, like, prom, graduation. I was class of 2020.
Yeah.
So
that sucks.
I'm a stress runner, and so, like, when I get when I get stressed, I need to go, like, work out, especially run. So, like, during
my aunt is the same way.
Yeah, so, like, during COVID, I mean, everything was just kind of being taken away. For me, the biggest thing was losing my senior year volleyball, because the team I was on my senior year for club was really, really special. I was playing with some of my best friends.
Yeah.
We were like, really good. Our next tournament we were going to was, like, USA Nationals, and it was my first time qualifying for USA Nationals. I'd always been to AAU.
Oh, man.
So, losing that was just, like, really heartbreaking, because, like, those are some of my best friends, and, like, never knowing that I'll, like, that was the last time I'll ever play with them, that kind of hits the heartstrings extra hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, just kind of like losing all those experiences was the toughest part. So I'd find myself getting really, like, worked up and upset over it. So my mom would be like, "Please go on for a run and don't come back till you feel better." She'd be like, "Here's your running shoe."
Smart parents.
Yeah, I have the best family in the world. They're the best. But it's so true. Like, working out is such a big, like, stress relief. So that was my big thing. I would just go on these runs just to, like, kind of blow off some steam and feel better, which it did work.
So let me ask you, comparing whether it's senior you in high school to you now, like, what are the biggest differences?
Wow, that's a good one. Wow, so looking from senior year of high school to, like, going into my senior year of college. Like,
if you were able to talk to you now, or to you then, right now, how would you compare yourself?
Comparing the two, I would say that I have a better sense of who I am. And just, like, what do I believe in, what's true in my heart, and, like, how I want to carry that into my life. Because, when you're in high school, you don't really, I feel like back then I probably thought I had a strong sense of self, but looking, back then to where I am now, I feel like I just have a better grasp of, like, who I am and, like, what I want out of my future.
Right.
I would say I'm a lot more confident. I'm a lot more sure of myself.
It seems like it.
Yeah, I just have a better sense of self and just kind of, like, understanding who I am and, like, how I work. But yeah, I would just say overall just a more confident person who just, again, like, there's so much growing up you do from your sophomore, like, throughout all of college. I would just say, like, overall it's just, like, I'm way more prepared for adulthood than I was my senior year of high school.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, as much as the pandemic was awful and like going through that, I think it really kind of just like made me a stronger person, just like toughened me up a little bit.
Right. Do you have any idea what you want to do in the future?
It's still up in the air for right now.
I mean,
for the
totally
the longest time, like I've always been attracted to the idea of going to law school.
Really?
So, yeah. So for the past 2 summers, I interned at a law firm back home in Chicago. It was real estate and estate planning, and I loved it. My attorney, Sharon Sweeney, shout out.
An attorney?
Yeah. I worked for an attorney. Yeah. Sharon Sweeney. Yeah.
Wow. Shout
So
out.
she's a wonderful mentor and just like so good at what she does. Just learning from her and just like seeing what she does every day, because it's real estate and estate planning. When you think of like an attorney, you think like in the courtroom, like solving crimes. So what she does is like handling legal transactions between like buying and selling houses and writing wills and like estate planning. And I like the aspect of like she works with real life people like every day. And it's a little more like a, I don't want to say controlled environment's not the right word, but kind of like more of an everyday environment in comparison to what you think would happen in like, being like a practicing like courtroom attorney. Mm-hmm. So that's something I could see myself doing. I'm not sure I think down the road I could see myself doing something in like real estate or estate planning. Yeah. If I were to go to law school, I think my end goal would be legal counsel for a professional sports team.
That'd be sick.
I do like writing contracts. I think that's really cool. So I like working for, I don't know, like a team back home in Chicago would be super cool. Like drafting up contracts between like either players or vendors, like that would be pretty sick.
Working for the Bears?
That would be crazy.
That would be crazy. That sounds like a pretty damn cool gig.
That'd be really cool. But if not, as you know, you're in the comm department too. PR for a professional sports team would be cool, because I do love to write, and like that kind of writing I think I'd be really happy doing.
Maybe like what, like in a journalistic way?
Not in the sense of
or
journalistic, but like more organizational.
Gotcha.
It's like press releases for organizations, and kind of like maybe on the social media end, like managing that. Mm-hmm. So if anything to stay in the world of athletics would be really cool.
Is that what you in high school wanted to do as well?
I think I was still on the law school train, like back in high school. I would say within the past like 6 months is kind of like changing my view as to like what I want.
Totally extreme version of a lawyer, but have you ever seen Daredevil?
I have not.
No?
No.
Really good show.
Yeah?
Like they took it down on Netflix, but really, really good.
Yeah.
Not many people know about it.
Yeah.
Are you into Marvel by any chance?
I am.
Are you really?
I watch.
You all caught up?
What?
Are you all caught up?
I'm not. I've been bad. I was waiting till I got home over winter break, but I have not been good about.
And you're going home soon, right?
I'm going home, yeah. Like 4 days, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just gone for the winter?
Gone for the winter, yeah.
Yeah. Catch up on movies, shows, whatever you got to do.
That's
Take advantage.
Yeah, exactly. It's always funny because I like have my queue on Netflix is so full, just because like during season. Oh my God,
mine is too.
During season, like I always say like, oh, I'll watch this on the bus, like the bus ride, like our 6-hour bus ride to Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And I never end up doing it because
I like take a nap or something.
Either taking a nap or hang out with my friends.
Yeah.
And there's just no time to watch when you're coming back from practice and then doing work. It's like, oh wait, it's 11 o'clock now. Might as well go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Man, I miss those long bus rides. Bus ride, going on the road whenever you're playing a sport is the best.
Yeah, it is fun. Like I don't know.
I mean, it sucks if you lose, but it is fun if you win or just you're on your way there. It's nice.
Exactly. No, like I don't know. Like we have our longest trip is to Pennsylvania. It's like 6 or 7 hours. That's a hefty bus ride.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I don't know. Like this year, I kind of like leading up. I was like, oh, this is not gonna be fun. But it's actually like not that bad because you're just hanging out with your friends.
And plus, aren't you on a coach bus?
We're on a coach bus. Yep.
You get plenty of leg room.
Yeah, plenty. We got a whole row to yourself. Bring a blankie. Got some snacks. It's not too bad.
That's not bad at all. What? So, I don't know. Like, obviously, I'm still new to Central Athletics and obviously the volleyball team. Obviously, the year didn't finish how you guys wanted it to finish. What are some things that you personally can take away from this past season that you look to apply in your game or just the team aspect for next season?
Absolutely. So for just me personally, going from my sophomore year into my junior year, I was just way more confident as a player.
Okay.
There were some times last year where I just like, I don't know, I want to say question myself almost. Like, I don't know, like I'd make a mistake, and volleyball's a very mental game, and like it's literally a sport where the other team benefits off of you making mistakes.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's, there's a big mental aspect of it, and I think, coming out of last season, like my sophomore year, I just thought to myself, like, I need to toughen out mentally, and I need to get past the mental block of making mistakes. Because I think
what when you say mistakes, was there anything like in your game, like if you were scouting yourself, that you were like, I need to fix this? Was it maybe like correcting where you should be at certain points of like a set, maybe like where you want to spike a ball? I don't know.
Yeah, for me, like, I mean, the two aspects of my game that I knew I had to improve were like, well, as a right side, my two main jobs are hitting and blocking.
Yep.
So as a hitter, I just knew like with my arm swing, I'm very aware of this. My arm swing is very like non-traditional. It's very elongated. Where most hitters like use more of their shoulder, I use my arm, which is something. It's just the way I swing. I've always swung. And
did you ever play baseball growing up or softball?
Like when I was really young, but not, you know, like I think I stopped in like middle school, so not like long term. So just kind of speeding up my swing to make it a little bit more snappy and effective. So just like the one thing like I try to think about is kind of like think of your arm as a whip. So like
a
whip, like
that's what I was saying, because like sometimes like playing sports like a baseball, softball, like pitching, throwing, hitting, anything like that, like because sometimes those things develop at a young age. Yeah. So I don't know, that just asking. But I gotcha. So
and then in terms of like blocking, my biggest thing is just to get better with eye work, and that's something that just comes with experience. College D1 volleyball, it's a fast like pace. A lot faster pace than anything, obviously, I've seen before. Yeah. So, like, that was my big thing, is just, like, work on my eye work and work on my awareness, like, kind of like visual cues. If I see this happening, this is what's most likely going to be happening, so my block is in the same, like, the right place at the right time.
So, how does a team, now, I'm not trying to, like, have you guys, like, sell out the game plan or the practice plans or anything. How exactly do you prepare for that? Like, do you guys have, like, this is gonna sound extreme. Like, do you have like a can or anything? Like, boom, like shoots at the top of the net, and you have to like, I don't know, like you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I know what you mean. So
like, how do you even prepare for like someone spiking at their absolute fullest?
It's all with like scrimmaging like each other. Like I think you know, like learning from it, like playing each other is a great way to like learn and just kind of like work on shots. Like I know in practices sometimes we'll like mirror the other team. Like, you know, look at their scouting report and like one side will do that. Like let's say so like let's say a team is running a 5-1, which just means the setter plays all the way around, for those of us that don't know volleyball terms. Yep. If a team's like having that happen, when we're scrimmaging, the other side will be doing that. So like those kinds of things we'll prepare for. Yep. And then in terms of just like, you know, preparing to take those hard hits, like we'll have coaches like hop in a box and swing. For us, like hitting wise too, there's days where like a great drill is like if you're working on like hitting zones, we'll have like a ball cart put where you want to hit, and like when you're going to swing, you have to hit that ball court. That's smart. Yeah. Yeah. Those are like one of my favorite drills to do, just because it's like you can really hone in on like, okay, I'm trying to hit this shot. This is gonna sound crazy. Have you ever seen? I haven't seen or ever heard of Ted Lasso? Yes, I've watched like the first few episodes. How was it? You know, everyone that I said like I've like talked about it, my parents are huge fans of the show, and probably breaking their heart like knowing that I haven't watched it, because they watched all the way through, because they're like, it's such a good feel-good show, and especially if you're in the world of sports. I think it won a ton of awards. Oh yeah, if you're in the world of sports, it's like a must-watch. Right. Again, another thing I have to watch over break. Yep. But yeah, a lot of people. I mean, the first episode was good, and I just stopped because I got busy and forgot about it. Yeah. Because if I'm not mistaken, it's about what, an American football coach trying to teach soccer? Yeah. Or coach soccer? Yeah. He's like, he went to the UK and was like coaching a soccer team. And everything that could go wrong goes wrong. Right. And he just has such a good attitude. Yeah. Like through it. The reason I was asking is because like for me, if I was like, let's say like today I was just dropped in like and I had to coach a volleyball team, I would just like have the team like watch NBA highlights and like watch like the greatest shot blockers and be like, that's how you stop someone at the rim. Something like that. I think there's a lot to be said about like watching yourself and watching other people play. Gotcha. Like I'm really big on like rewatching, like it's so funny because like so I live with 4 of my teammates, and like after a game happens, we'll go home and we'll like sit and watch the game that we just played. So what do you like, rewatching NEC front row or something? Yeah, that's really what we do. So I think there's a lot of, because you can see your mistakes, you can see what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and learn from it. Yeah. So that was another thing I did too, like compared from my sophomore to junior years. Like I always watched the film, but like kind of like focusing more on myself, like looking at my technique more and like my movements more, and I think that helped me a lot too. So as of right, like if I'm not mistaken,
You're going. Is this your last season coming up?
Going into my senior year.
Oh my god.
The final year.
Is this like a last dance coming up?
My last
in a way?
dance. It is my last dance.
For you, but like how many other aren't a lot of teammates like sophomores and juniors?
Yeah. So like for so again being coming from the class of 2020,
Yep.
I have my COVID year.
Okay.
So I could stay for my 5th year.
So maybe depending on the outcome. Hopefully it's a ring.
This will be my last season playing college volleyball this upcoming season.
Really?
I've decided I am not taking my 5th year.
You sure? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not.
No, it's a hard. It's a hard.
You.
It was, I sat down. I went back and forth with the decision for so long.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an easy decision to make.
Even Tom Brady came back.
Yeah. Hey.
I'm just saying.
But for me, like I've been doing this since I was like 6 years old, and volleyball's. I owe my entire life to volleyball. As cheesy as it sounds, it's brought me some of my best friends.
Yeah.
It's made me into a stronger person and kind of made me to who I am today.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't trade this experience I've had at Central for anything. I'm so grateful to be here, and I'm really lucky to have this experience as a Division I athlete.
Yeah.
And that being said, I think there's a lot of beauty in it ending on my terms. Just kind of like how I'm putting an end to it. That being said, too, like physically, I'm getting to the point where my body is just kind of like, I think I got like one more really good year in me before things like really
You really
start.
think so?
Yeah, physically, I'm starting to feel it. Natalie Novak was on.
Shout out, Nat.
Shout out, Natalie. She always says your junior year is when you start to feel it physically. I'm starting to feel it.
Yeah, especially because you've been playing for so long.
Yeah, and just I'm ready, and especially with terms of my degree too. Technically, I can graduate like that fall semester, which is crazy. So in terms of my degree and where I'm at.
Wait, next fall? Yeah. Oh yeah, as of right now,
That's
I'm graduating
crazy.
next fall too.
That's crazy. Like it's so soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, just in terms of where I'm at with my degree, it just makes sense. And I have no desire to go transfer to like another school and play so.
Yeah, you definitely seem at peace. I will say though, you truly seem like the ultimate competitor. Like depending, like I said, like you seem at peace. I'm not here to persuade you. That's your decision at the end of the day. I will say I will not blame you whatsoever. Let's say let's say you guys finally get a ring. End it there.
I will say, even though I'm choosing for my career to end next season, I'm out for blood this upcoming season.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I came into Central with the goal to get a ring and put a banner on our wall, and I'm not leaving until that happens.
That out for blood.
Out for blood.
Oh my god.
I think my whole team's on the same page with that too, and we're ready.
So what do you think you guys need to do for this ultimate out for blood season that you didn't do last season? Or do you think it was just like an unfortunate break here and there?
Unfortunate break here and there. For me personally, I missed 3 games from
my god,
sick.
yeah.
You know what, everything that happened.
Yeah, that was tough.
That was tough.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, I missed 3 games because I've had some issues with my tonsils. I'm getting my tonsils taken out a week from today, so not an issue for the 2023
Hey, shout out to the doctor or surgeon.
For real. Yeah, I'm excited for that to happen. Yeah. So for me, missing those games was literally the most frustrating thing ever. There's no greater pain than sitting in your bed, coming back from the ER, and watching your teammates play without you because you actually can't be there. I was losing my mind.
Yeah.
I hated it. Especially just not being there. I was in the ER 3 times. The third time I was in the ER, the next day my parents came out to watch me play, but obviously that didn't happen. They were with me in the ER.
Yeah.
But I was just Mom, I gotta go. I gotta go to that game. I'm literally gonna lose my mind.
Yeah.
So that was, for me personally, missing those, games was just really annoying. And I felt in the first half of my season, I was really in my groove. I was doing well, and then I got sick.
The setbacks.
I got sick, and then playing not physically feeling 100% was really frustrating for me, just because of I saw how I was doing, and then I got sick and came back, and I just wasn't as strong as I used to be, just because of just being sick. It takes it out of you. You gotta you play through so much, but it's not the same as playing healthy, and then it happening again was just really frustrating.
So, injuries and everything aside,
yeah.
Let's say you're going against. I'll name the ops for you. We got FDU, Farley Dickerson,
yeah.
and then Dickinson, and not Merrimack. Is Merrimack one of? No.
Who
else is there? Sacred Heart U
and
St. Francis.
St. Francis. Well. I mean, the thing with the conference this year is it was all very close. You look how many 5-setters we had.
The standings were pretty close.
Oh my gosh, it was really, really close. So I think, especially for us just going into this year, we do have a lot of younger players, Very, very talented players. Like, my team, I got some great teammates. Like, so much talent on our team. And I think there's a lot to be said. There's power and experience. So, like, just with everyone having another year under their belt, because, like, we're losing Natalie. That's the only person, and Natalie and Stella, we're losing 2 players and bringing 2 on. That's still a lot of, like, girls on the team that have, like, had this experience and have been through it before.
That's a huge thing, chemistry.
Yeah, and I think
that's a big thing.
There's a lot of power and experience.
Yeah.
So I think with the experience coming in and, like, coming out of our this season, we're all just kind of, like, hungry for this upcoming season just because we're not happy with how we did.
So how exactly does one take their volleyball game to another level? Is it just getting even stronger in the weight room? Is it just playing more?
Yeah, just, like, practicing more. A lot of people, too, like, just putting in the work in the weight room and just, we have a really great strength coach. She's awesome.
Yeah.
And just kind of, like, in the spring, it's very much focused on your individual growth. And I think a big thing people, like, at least I take into account is it's time for physical growth and for my growth as a volleyball player, but it's also time for mental growth. My spring of my sophomore year, I sat down and said to myself, I need to become a tougher player. I need to
It's good that you can do that. Not a lot of people can face themselves in the mirror.
It's not easy, but it's something, if you want to become a stronger person mentally, you have to look in the mirror and say, okay, like, what do I need to do to get better? For me, it was learning to let go of my mistakes and just kind of, like, don't think about it too much and just kind of, be in the moment while I'm playing, because that's when I have fun. When I have more fun, I play better.
You play better when you're not thinking.
Yeah.
And you just do.
And just do it.
That was definitely my problem when I played back in high school when I played football. Yeah, it's hard to get out of your own head sometimes. Because sometimes, or at least not even sometimes, just point blank period, your biggest enemy should not be you when you're playing.
Yep.
Should not be.
I completely agree.
So, I will say this. Whenever I'd see you guys play, there were some girls on some of these other teams where they were just, like, lower body-wise, built like tanks. And they were packing horsepower. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, is there anything you can do to, like, counter that? Like, do you have to just, like, be more aggressive to match that power that they possess? Like, like, what do you do if, like, is that, like, kind of a mismatch for you? Or is that, like, maybe a scheme thing you gotta switch up?
Yeah, it really depends. Because, like, for me, I'm, like, I'm a taller player.
Yeah.
So, one of my, not challenges, but it's, like, it's different to work against a player, like, so if I have an outside that's shorter but runs a really fast ball, I have to, like, change the way I'm thinking and, like, the way I'm seeing the ball as if I'm playing an outside that's 6'2", because the ball's not going to be as fast.
Right.
So, like, for me as a blocker, that's going to change my scheme of things, because if I have a hitter that's shorter but running a faster ball, I have to be up on that block way sooner than I do on the girl that's, like, my size.
Right.
So, it really depends. It really depends on, like, those kinds of girls. And then, obviously, if you have, like, a huge hitter, you have to plan your defense against that, just to kind of, again, like you said, counteract that. So it really just depends from team to team and player to player.
Yeah. No, it's like you just totally sounded like a guru when you just broke that down for me. No, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, hearing terminology and everything. No, that's good stuff. I will say, for CCC as a whole, we have, I don't even know, like, I'm just trying to think of, like, the main, because, like, for the longest time, football was the staple of our university, and obviously they had a rough year. Yeah. You guys were, like, right there. Like, someone's got to take the throne, or take the torch.
We'll take it.
Yeah, like, hopefully you guys do.
Yeah. I'm really excited for this upcoming season, especially the spring, too, just because I love seeing, like, the growth, for me personally, but then, like, my other teammates. So just to, like, kind of, like, work together and just really grow as a team, I'm really excited to do, and then just kind of come in for this fall and just be ready to go after it. So
regardless of whatever happens next season and onward, what are some things that you expect of yourself in the future?
Ooh, good question. Definitely in terms of, like, I think about, I've been an athlete my entire life, and, like, losing the identity of an athlete, like, being able to say, like, I'm a Division I athlete.
I talked with Nat about that, like, having to come back to
being a NARP, but, like, a NARP for the rest of my life. But I think in terms of, like, being physically active, that's something that that's gonna be not a hurdle for me, but something that'll be an interesting journey, because, like, I want to stay competitive, but I think that taking a break from volleyball is not a bad idea. So, like, maybe, I don't know, I've been thinking, like, maybe CrossFit competitions would be cool. I've always thought it'd be cool if I could do, like, become a triathlete and, like, do a triathlon. Like, that would be a huge goal of mine.
That would be pretty crazy.
So, still stay active and still kind of be that quote-unquote athlete, but in a different light.
Yeah.
So, that's something that's a big goal of mine.
Maybe even, like, a personal trainer or something. Who
Super
knows?
cool,
You never know. Nobody ever knows what the future holds in store.
Yeah.
You could have an idea of what you want to be now, and then 2 years later, it's like you're dead set on something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time figures all those things out.
Yeah.
Well, before we started recording, I said that I was going to ask you 3 things. Do you think you're ready to answer those 3 things now?
I'm ready to answer those 3 things, yeah.
You sure?
Yes.
All right. Let's start with the shows and movies, okay?
Okay.
Show that you would recommend to the people.
I have to say Gilmore Girls. That's
Okay.
If you're looking for, like, an easy, bingeable show, like, it's kind of like the girl version of The Office, Gilmore Girls. It's, like, one of my favorite shows of all time. It's so good.
And
it's
your
on
mom,
Netflix.
your mom put you onto it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've watched, embarrassingly to say, I've watched it over, like, 8 times.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. And then I just watched the 2nd episode of the Harry and Meghan documentary on Netflix. Really recommend that. Really good light into their life and, like,
Okay.
kind of like how the British media has affected their life. Really interesting. So I really recommend that.
Aside from the Gilmore Girls, do you have, like, a other, like, favorite show of all time?
Ooh, Parks and Rec.
I am so glad you said that because I have seen The Office like 5 times, and I've seen Parks and Rec once.
Really?
And I think Parks and Rec is better.
It's so good. It's such
It's a
good
phenomenal show. And
it's such a feel-good show,
It
too.
was even better because I have seen, obviously, Chris Pratt in The Avengers,
Yeah.
and I've seen Aubrey Plaza and other things. Did not know that they were in there, and I didn't even realize, is it Poehler?
Amy Poehler, yeah.
Yep, I didn't realize that was, like, she was one of the main staples
So
of that
funny.
show. And then a couple other it was so good.
It's
in every
hilarious.
way.
The writing is hilarious.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Great show.
What about movie?
Ooh, movie. I have to think, like, okay, in terms of series, again, like, like, anything Marvel. Like,
Okay.
I honestly, like, I refuse to watch it.
What's your favorite Marvel movie?
I'm going to say it's got to be Civil War.
Really?
Yeah. I think Civil War.
Are you a Captain America fan?
Yeah, I am.
I'm a Team Iron Man kind of guy.
Oh, that's valid.
No.
I get that. I would say Iron Man's my number 2.
Iron Man 1 is one of my favorite
It's
movies
so
ever
good.
because
Yeah.
it started everything.
Yeah. No, it's so good.
Shoot, yes, since you're Italian, how's your family? I just had to ask. So obviously have some of these like The Godfather, Goodfellas. Have you seen all the Italian mob movies?
This is really bad. My dad is a huge fan of, like, all of them, and I've not been good about watching any of them.
You have to.
I need
that's
to.
like a sacrilegious thing.
Yeah.
To like not have any seen
I've
anything
seen, like,
Rob
the
De
first
Niro.
Godfather, but I need to, yeah. That's
Like when my kids
my
like,
bad on that one.
nah, you're good. Like, I don't know, like an appropriate ages to show
Yeah.
your kids certain movies like that. But as soon as I can, whatever maybe like 13, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I'm just gonna sit my kid down and be like, all right,
Here we go.
instead of The Birds and the Bees, it's gonna be The Godfather.
It's gonna be The Godfather. That's
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah, no, you definitely need to see those movies.
Yeah.
If you're, I mean, Marvel's like action stuff, but like these, I mean, I guess you could say these are action.
Yeah.
You would like them though. Like
Oh,
the
yeah. I
acting
know,
is
I love them.
off the charts.
Yeah. So good.
So, the last thing, words of advice and or encouragement, whether it's to your future self, whether it's to anybody listening, teammates, family, friends, or whoever.
I would say my biggest piece of advice to just anyone is never underestimate the power of kindness. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, be kind to your mind. I think that kindness goes far. Smile to someone is just something that's very underrated and so easy to do because you never really know what's going on in someone's life. So just be kind to others. And like we said earlier, always bet on yourself. Always have faith on yourself. At the end of the day, people come and go. The only person that's going to be with you your whole life is yourself. So invest in yourself, take the time for yourself, and always bet on yourself.
That was very, very well put.
Thanks.
But unfortunately, I totally lied to you. That wasn't the last thing. I totally left out the music.
Hey, it's all good.
Who do you enjoy listening to that you'd have to recommend to our lovely listeners and viewers at home?
All right. I feel like I'm going to get some slack for this. I'm a country fan. I do like country music.
Oh,
I
brother.
listen to everything, but I am a country music fan.
Hey, I respect
think
it.
that everyone needs to start listening to is Zach Bryan, American Heartbreak album. It's not what you think typical country is. his songs, his lyrics, they hit differently. They're not what you think, like, you know, like what you think of typical country songs, like driving my pickup truck, like it's not like that. It's so good.
Yeah.
Especially like Something in the Orange. It's just so good.
No,
give it a listen.
It's so funny. Okay, little story here.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was a kid, all my life, especially my mom, because my mom despises country, and it's like she'll listen to anything but country.
I get it though. I understand it.
No. So I would just say it just to say it, but like at the same time, I love doing voice impersonation. It's fun.
Yeah.
So like I can't hate someone that loves singing country, especially if I'm the one singing it. Like if it comes on, like I got nothing else to listen to, might as well like vibe to it.
Yeah.
So I work at the rec center at CCSU.
Yeah.
And sometimes they just put the country station on, and they don't want anybody to change it sometimes. So I will guess, or I like to guess, like what the song is going to be about before it even starts. And it's always the same three things. It's either you got dumped and you're trying to find a way to get over it. You want to have a good night, so you want to like go out to a bar and get some drinks. Or, what's the third one? It's either you got dumped, you want to go out to a bar and get some drinks, or it's like, damn, I can't think of it. But for some reason, every time, I've been to 2 concerts in my life, never anything like Xfinity Theater-wise or open lawn type thing. But for some reason, whenever country songs are on and people have some drinks going on or something, I don't get it. Everybody like points at one another. What is up with that? Where they're like singing the lyrics to each other with their drum. I'm like, bro, why are you pointing?
It makes you feel some type of way.
Put your
like
finger
country
down.
music is just, it's so good.
Yeah.
I like a country music concert. Oh my god, it's so much fun. Like I saw Luke Bryan this summer, like in August, with a bunch of my friends. It was so much fun. We had lawn seats and we had the time of our life.
The person you recommended was Zach
Bryan.
Zach Bryan. Is he related to Luke Bryan?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, just
Brian.
Another Brian out there. But no, he's phenomenal. I really, he's coming to Chicago at Windy City Smokeout. So, nice. And that's like it's at the Xfinity Center where like the Bulls play.
And
yeah.
That's crazy.
So I really, really want to go see him.
And what's the album by him that you would say you'd have to
American Heartbreak.
Okay.
Yes, very, very good.
I will say, though, I do need me a country hat just to say I have one, just in case.
I have one.
So we don't know what the spring concert is at CCSU. Hopefully it's a good one because...
I know. I was just talking about that with my boyfriend. Like, I don't know what it's going to be.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think...
Remember when they had Kesha?
That was so bad. If it was... I will say, if it was 2010, I would have been in there.
Oh, it'd be so much fun.
I would have been in there. Oh, my God. Freaking Die Hard or Die Young.
That'd be so much fun. TikTok and
yes,
mind.
That would have been nuts.
Yeah, and then last year was what, 2 Friends?
2 Friends. I heard it was good though for like the people that were there.
It was I don't know.
There's nothing else to do. I mean, might as well.
Might as well go.
They're playing really good music.
Yeah.
But for the Kesha one, apparently it was already pre-recorded.
Yeah.
She sent
didn't
it.
Show up.
Yeah, she sent it to everybody,
Yeah.
and then it was COVID, so like it's not like she could make it.
Yeah.
And do you know who we were gonna get before?
Who?
Kesha.
Who?
It was supposed to be Doja Cat.
We almost got Doja Cat.
Right before she blew up. It was supposed to be Doja. I don't know if you like a Doja. I'm a Doja fan.
Oh, I love Doja Cat.
Yeah, like Say So and everything. Like,
I remember like hearing from one person that they almost got Fetty Wap.
Really?
That would have been crazy. Because here's the thing, like we all listened to Fetty Wap in middle school.
Oh, of course.
Like I'm gonna go nuts. Yeah, that'd be great.
Have you heard his new song, The Yams?
No.
Can I get to the Yams?
Oh my gosh, I need to listen.
No. No, he's trending all over. Or he was, especially over Thanksgiving.
Didn't he like recently get? No, he like just got out of jail. He was like arrested. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's still. He's underrated now. Like I still listen to some of his music.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's gonna be somebody in the pop field if I were to take a guess, and I think it's gonna be somebody that people could just be like, all right, we'll go.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you were here. I don't think you were in 2019. Mm-hmm. They had A Boogie. I'm not a fan of A Boogie. They had him and Black Bear.
I know they had Black Bear. I didn't know they had A Boogie.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So.
Oh my god! Imagine if they got A Boogie again.
No, well, I mean, we'll see who they get in the spring, but I'm excited. But yeah, I do need to get me a country hat.
I have one.
I have one.
Oh my gosh, this is so funny. So we have like our Halloween practice, and I dressed up as like a cowboy for our Halloween practice for volleyball. So there's like a cowboy hat just like chilling in my locker, and like I don't know, it was just funny. Like I have all my volleyball stuff and just a cowboy hat.
Nah, that's
there.
what's
up.
Funny.
I was like, I might as well just keep it in there.
this is really nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad you finally came on.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Hey,
So
shout out
fun.
to you. Shout out to the team. I'd love to get some more of your teammates on whenever the opportunity presents itself. But we could do this again sometime, maybe next season or something.
Absolutely, yeah. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, this was cool.
Yeah.
I might have to give this, what is it, one more time? Heartbreak?
American Heartbreak.
American Heartbreak?
American Heartbreak. So good.
I gotta show you, or play this song that one of my friends put me onto. You definitely know what it is, but I heard it and I was laughing so hard because I thought it was good, but I was like, this is such a stereotypical country song. Nah, but with that said, everybody's a story and it's still being written. My heart is with you all. Keep pushing, keep striving. Ciao for now.
Bye.
Peace.